guys? Mike aka Fony with the BFF report. Today I have a game called Trials Evolution. Today's is Gold. This is the PC version that came out from RedLynx, Ubisoft. And yes, it is a port. So the first thing we're gonna do is talk about what that means to us. First things first, we're gonna get this out of the way. Yes, you absolutely have to install Uplay in order to play this. Even if you're running on Steam, you have to install Uplay. So when you double click on the game in Steam, it's gonna load up Uplay, then you click play on Uplay, then it launches the game. Is this an inconvenience? Yes, it is. But is the game worth it? Well, let's start with the main menu. First thing you probably notice is the Facebook logo in the upper right corner. I haven't clicked on it, so I don't know what it does, but I'm willing to bet it probably posts pictures of your times or pictures of your character or something, stuff like that. As we head into options, we see that we have a number of things: gameplay, video, audio controls. Let's go into gameplay. You see that it's Ghost, Units, Metric, or Murica. We head down into controls, and as you can see, you could rebind anything you want. The problem is that it's not very intuitive. Usually, on most PC games, you will like double click on something, and it'll pop up a little window, and it'll say, push the key you want for turning left, or whatever. And you would push that key. Here, you double click on it, it doesn't look like it does anything, but you hit the key and it will assign it. And these little annoyances are the things you're gonna see pop up from time to time. Another great example is actually in the editor. Whenever you go to modify a value, you can't click on the number and type in the number on your keypad. You actually have to push or hold left or right as if you're using a controller. You have to click on the arrows in order to change the value, which it totally blows my mind that they wouldn't think about doing that when they have active fields elsewhere in the game, like in the search engine. So I'll show you all that stuff in a minute, but I'm being honest here. The game does have its flaws. As you can see here, we have the graphics options. Fairly simple, right? Not too complex. I wish there was a couple more options, like, you know, tress effects for my hair while I'm doing tricks and all that stuff. You know, important things like that when you're playing Trials. Now, anyways, these settings, this particular setup, runs perfectly for me. However, I will note that some users are experiencing issues with the game in terms of performance. And even I was right there with them, I had the same problems. That's why I didn't have a BFF report out 2 weeks ago, but that was beta. And since then, I've reinstalled the game, updated my NVIDIA drivers to 314.07, those are the most recent ones, and the game runs perfectly on these settings, even while recording. So I don't know what to say about some of the issues that other people are having. All I can tell you is that I'm experiencing the game flawlessly. So to summarize the port of Trials from Xbox to PC, what I'll say is that it is good. It is not great. It does have a few things that can be tweaked here and there, but even if those particular things don't get fixed, it's not something that's gonna ruin my entire experience with the game. So now that we have the technical stuff out of the way, let's talk about Trials Evolution Gold versus Trials Evolution Xbox. Right now on the 360, you have a couple DLCs that are available to you. You guys have seen it all on my Trials Evolution Tuesdays videos, my Donkey videos, all that stuff. We have the 350cc bike, we have the Gecko, which I absolutely love. That is the BMX bike for those of you guys who aren't familiar with it. And of course, there's all the stuff that's available in the editor for people to use when making crazy, weird-ass tracks. Well, unfortunately, those particular bikes and all the content associated with those DLCs are not available in Trials Evolution Gold. What you do get, however, is Trials HD. It's all bundled up into one package. And that is all these tracks here, as well as access to the Micro Donkey. This is something that Xbox users would actually have to purchase Trials HD in order to go through and get, because it is an achievement item. And it's funny because the ease of access to just one more bike, right, for PC users has actually helped spur more tracks being created specifically for the donkeys. So, and it could be, you know what, it could be me. I know a lot of you guys watch my Trials content, especially Will It Donkey, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you guys were all over making tracks for this because you want to see me go and hate myself on these tracks. Sure, I'll take some of the credit. But it definitely makes sense to attribute the massive growth in custom tracks created by you guys that are specific for the donkey to the fact that it actually comes with Trials Evolution Gold. But all these tracks are mainly here for you to go through, complete 100% everything, and rerun them if you want to earn money to go over here, the garage. The garage is where you go to unlock all of your items, to make your rider look unique, and fucking dress them up and share them on Facebook if you want. And then of course you can take your bike and sprinkle all kinds of crazy colors all over it. The colors are free, mind you, right? The graphics and the decals are not. Those cost a little bit extra. But that's primarily what that money's for. Then when the DLC comes and drops, there's gonna be a ton of other stuff you can come through and purchase using money that you've accumulated by, you know, doing multiplayer and of course, running these tracks. But that's not really what the game is about. It's nice dressing up your character, I'm sure, but really what the game is about is leaderboards, the best time to race against your friends, you're doing multiplayer, going online. I would actually say, personally, I would say that multiplayer is fun with your buddies, right? But the main primary thing is Track Central. Coming into Track Central and downloading these tracks, that you see, the stuff that you see running right here. Now, a lot of the tracks that you're seeing, especially the custom ones, the ones that are really wild looking, these are tracks that I pulled from the Xbox version of Trials Evolution. The reason why is because, honestly, the creators on Trials Evolution Gold have not quite had enough time to come up with things like this. There's some good stuff, mind you, but shit like this takes a long time. So really what I'm showing you is stuff that you're gonna see popping up on Track Central here in the next couple weeks as people have more time to sit in there and play with the editor, which I'll show you in a minute, because the editor using mouse and keyboard is king. It's so good. Now, at first glance, I saw Track Central and I was like, wait a minute, where's my best tracks in the past 48 hours? And I was kind of bummed. I was like, it kind of sucks that those are missing. Personally, I would still like to see them come back. This redesign they did here with the big picture here, it looks kind of like the Xbox dashboard, right? Well, I'm okay with this because their search function is a billion times better than the 360 version. It is so good. You can go through and sort everything here and then search it in real time. There's no case-sensitive usernames. All that stuff does not exist on the PC version. And then, of course, I can narrow it down to, you know, past month, past week, past day, whatever, and it helps me find tracks much, much faster. Now, I do miss the fact that I can click one button and have the past 48 hours, like, right there in front of me, and it's always updating. I do miss that for sure. But to have it replaced with a search engine that just blows the Xbox version out of the water is definitely okay with me. Now, gameplay in Trials Evolution, because I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, well, how am I gonna play that on the keyboard? Well, a lot of people can knock out 99% of the content that's available to them using the mouse and keyboard. A lot of people can. It is harder. I will tell you right now, it is gonna be more difficult. It is gonna be frustrating because you do not have the ability to just gently, you know, apply brakes or gas or anything like that. And you're gonna be struggling with it a little bit, especially on some of the steep inclines. But there's not a ton of those, honestly. There's not a ton of those. Now, if you have an Xbox 360 controller, it's going to just work. If you have a PS3 controller, you can download Motion Joy, and I've heard that works really well too. So you have options here. I can't vouch for, you know, the random Logitech or Mad Catz controller. I can't vouch for those. All I can tell you is that keyboard works, PS3 controller works, and obviously the Microsoft controller works. But overall, the controls are just good, and they're so good and so tight that, you know, in the end, and just like I said before in my previous BFF report on Trials Evolution for the Xbox, if you fail at something, it's really your fault. Like 99% of the time, if you can't complete something, it's probably completable, you just can't do it. So you have to keep beating it up until you either throw the controller at something or you eventually get over it. And that's one of the appeals of Trials Evolution, is that it's a very challenging game, or at least it can be. Now let's go and take a look at the editor. There are two of them. We're gonna jump into the light one, and I'm gonna go ahead and set up a really quick track. And it's funny, it actually makes me want to create tracks because they did it's not perfect, mind you. Like naturally we get in, as PC gamers, right? We get in and we push space to elevate the camera. That doesn't work here yet. Wherever you're aiming, you push W and it'll reverse the camera. So you got to get used to a couple things for sure. And like I said already, to change values, you have to click on arrows. You can't actually type in numbers. Thankfully, you're not gonna be doing a lot of those unless you're doing some really detailed tracks. But even then, you're saving so much time by using the mouse and keyboard. Just the accuracy that you get from using the keyboard, the mouse, and just clicking on things and rotating them and sliding them around all over the place, it just kills the controller completely in that aspect. So we could test my track out here, right? It's terrible. It's a stupid track. If I were actually reviewing this on Trials Evolution Tuesdays, I would say that this is horrible. Why is this on the market? Don't release tracks like this, okay? Don't do it. But let's say that you think that you're ready to move on to the Pro editor. Okay, this one adds a ton more options. It gives you a bit more control over just a lot of the features, the objects and everything. So here I am. I'm speeding this up here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I even can control the FOV on the camera. I can control what kind of filters are on it, right? So I can put, make it blue, gray, black and white. I can make it Instagram, whatever I want. Even the depth of field. If I want to make it look just like stupid blurry in the background, I could do that. There are so many different things that you could do with this game. You've already seen, all the footage you've seen today is from this editor, whether it be on the 360 or on the PC. And some of the stuff didn't even look like Trials. It looked like a retro game or Mario. I mean, look, come on. Like, this is actually pretty good. You got to be honest here. So all I'm doing here is I'm going through and I want to do a little bit of terraforming. Okay, so I have this this hole. I want to put a hole in the ground. I want to make it look black, like something like exploded there. So I'm gonna grab some fire. I'll put some fire in it, right? Sprinkle some fire all over this thing. Obviously I have all these cars that I put right here to make it look like, I don't know. I just selected a whole bunch, copy pasted a whole bunch, and then selected that big group, copy pasted those, grabbed the buildings, moved them together, right? And then I put like a pipe in the air, made it pink. okay, put another car in the air, and then I can add physics to it. So there's so many things you could do. Now, when I get in to test this thing, you could see that's, you know, the camera filter looks like shit. But as we get closer to this, I'm critiquing my own track already, right? As we get closer to this, you can see that the pipe and the car falls, you know, and this is something I threw together. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just threw it together, clicked some buttons. I just know what the engine's capable of. Now, I know that there is zero tutorial for this thing, and that is frustrating, but I do have a link in the description below. If you're watching this on YouTube, I do have a link that will take you to a massive list of tutorials that are put together by the RedLynx guys. Tons and tons of video tutorials. You go through and watch them and learn whatever you want, and that's great. And honestly, that's probably the best way to set up a tutorial for this, because it can help you some with some of the flavor text and everything that pops up here, right? It gives you a little bit of information about what everything does, but honestly, the best way is probably going to be going and watching these videos. So we already know that Trials Evolution is a fantastic game. It was my game of the year in 2012. Now it's available on PC, and I feel like in terms of the port, right, it could use a couple tweaks here and there. The foundation and the majority of the game is definitely there. There's just little tiny things that pop up every once in a while, and the social crap. I have to try it really hard to ignore a Facebook, post myself to Facebook thing, but I'll just ignore it and I can play the game like normal. But none of that has really pushed me away from the PC version to go and, like, say, fire up my Xbox and play it there. Honestly, the only reason why I go to the Xbox now is if I want to experience some of the tracks from the more seasoned editors. But obviously, it's only a matter of time before we start seeing a nice steady flow of quality tracks from PC creators. But don't you fucking dare remake Candyland. Alright guys, so that is pretty much it for those of you guys who are watching this through Zam, TankSpot, Wowhead, and the likes. Feel free to check out more of my content related to Trials Evolution, youtube.com/AKMikeB. I have Trials Evolution Tuesdays, every Tuesday, except for the ones where I don't have a voice. This just came back recently, it was great. Will a Donkey, of course, where I take the micro donkey out on some crazy, unbelievable maps, and usually I beat them. That's why it's called Will a Donkey, though. We have to find out. And then, of course, my crash course videos. Those of you guys who are just now getting into Trials Evolution, feel free to go on my YouTube channel and check out my Trials Evolution crash course videos. They'll teach you how to FAP, which is really important. I'll see you guys next week.